AJ.
And Shannon. And this is Don't Burn the Day. Hi, buddy. How are you?
Good.
Good.
How are you?
I'm good. It's been busy, but it's a Monday and I'm excited.
We're here to celebrate World Cerebral Palsy Day.
That's right. Today's episode is all about World Cerebral Palsy Day. That's right. And go ahead.
It should be a great episode today. We hope you get a lot out of today's information.
Yeah, today's show is going to be really special because, we both live with CP, AJ, and on our show here at Don't Burn the Day, we try to really just get out positive information and just motivate people with not only who are living with cerebral palsy like we are, but living with different disabilities. But today is the one day that we get to focus on just specifically cerebral palsy. And so that's what we really wanted to do. We wanted to kind of shine the light on CP for the hour and kind of give you some facts and just talk about our feelings about what it's like to live with CP on a daily basis. And we just really hope you guys get a lot of information out of it. Maybe you get some fun out of it, and maybe you just realize that living with CP doesn't have to always be bad. Yes, is it difficult sometimes? Absolutely. But,
oh, yeah.
Like we always say on the show, you only get one today. Today is the only day. I'm sorry. Today is the only today you get. So make the best of it. And that's what we try to do every day, not only on the show here, but in our everyday life. And I think today we're going to do the best we can to kind of show you guys what we mean by that. So let's jump right into it. What do you say, AJ?
That sounds like a good idea. First off, there are 4 kinds of cerebral palsy. Not every case is the same. Every person with cerebral palsy has their own difficulties.
That's right. Not everybody with CP, just like every disability, is cookie cutter. So not everybody with CP is going to have the same cases. We're not going to deal with the same things. Much like AJ and I, there are things that AJ deals with on a daily basis that I don't have to deal with. There are things that I have to deal with on a daily basis that AJ doesn't have to deal with. Going back to the combination, there are things that we both have to deal with, and so we can kind of relate to each other on that aspect. But CP is absolutely not a cookie cutter disability. We have many different ranges of CP. I know we were talking a little bit before the show about how far the spectrum is and how far it runs out for CP. So just keep that in mind. If you're a parent of a child with CP and you're just jumping into this journey, be aware that the spectrum is very wide and your child is not going to be just like everybody else.
But know that it is possible to live a productive life.
Absolutely.
You just need to make some changes and work around some different challenges throughout your life.
Adaptation is key. Adapting is key, and just like AJ said, having CP or having any type of disability doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a terrible life. It means that you are going to be given a challenge as a child and a parent, that you're going to have to just deal with some some adversity, and then you're going to have to overcome and adapt. And that's what we talk about here on the show all the time, is overcoming and adapting and just being the best person that you can be. And also, as a parent, I think teaching your child from an early age to be their own advocate and showing them that there are possibilities in this life that are far beyond their wildest dreams if they just put in effort, and that anything is possible. Just basically overall, just show them that anything is possible with a little adaptation and a little time, and I think you already are starting off on a great foot.
There are 17 million people with cerebral palsy around the globe.
Yeah, we actually have a slide here, and I was gonna show some statistics super quick about that. This year's theme of cerebral palsy, World CP Day, I'm sorry, is millions of reasons. And we wanted to show kind of a slide that kind of documented that. Yes, so this year's theme of World Cerebral Palsy Day is millions of reasons. And if you didn't know, World Cerebral Palsy Day is actually on October 6th. You can see a cute little picture there of a family. Looks like a child with CP. And then down below here, it kind of explains, and we're going to go over a little bit with you and for you. October 6th marks World Cerebral Palsy Day. And we ask the world to come together and celebrate and support those living with CP, embrace diversity, and help to create a more accessible future for everyone. What that means to me specifically is a lot of what we talk about on the show every day. You know, there's a specific question that we ask of all of our guests that come on, and we talk about diversity and what that means to them. Having a diverse world, I think nowadays, even more than any other, is so important. And having an accessible world is so important. And just, you know, again, we talk about a lot on the show, having a seat at the table. And I think, you know, that's what we try to show here that's what we've tried to showcase on the show. So talking about World CP Day really kind of brings it full circle for us, I think, on the show, because that's all we try to highlight and show, that it is possible to have a wonderful life and live with cerebral palsy and be active, full-blown community members, and be able to give back and kind of partner up and just do the best you can living with what you have. AJ, you want to kind of give your thoughts on that?
There are people living with cerebral palsy in every walk of life.
Mm-hmm.
That are successful, but there are some things we still need to work on. As a person gets older, there aren't as much information as
there isn't as
there
much.
is.
You're right.
When we're younger, and there needs to be more doctors devoted to this cerebral palsy.
Well, I don't necessarily disagree with you. I absolutely think that there needs to be more doctors that are just devoted to cerebral palsy, but I also believe, on the same hand, that all doctors need to be versed in cerebral palsy, whether you specialize in cerebral palsy or not, or your specialty is cerebral palsy. Every doctor needs to be well versed um, in the realm of cerebral palsy. So if you go to a PCP that isn't necessarily devoted to CP, that if you ask him a question about why is this going on, or you let him know I'm feeling this, at least he can give you some knowledge and some education on why you're feeling those things and maybe help you along the way. And if he doesn't have the information, then he can refer you to someone else. So I absolutely agree with you that that more needs to be done in the realm of kind of educating more doctors in the field of CP. But I'm not so sure that it just needs to be one doctor needs to specialize. I believe in over the gamut that a lot of
Yeah.
most doctors need to be just at least educated on CP. And that's the problem, is that most doctors aren't educated. You walk into a doctor's office and you have CP, and more often than not, you as the patient are educating the doctor because they've never known or they've never dealt with it.
I've found that in my own life.
Mm-hmm.
They've often had to go to their medical textbooks.
Right. So that's why I'm saying, excuse me for interrupting, but that's why I'm saying not just doctors need to be, there doesn't need to just be one doctor that specializes in CP. I think I think along the gamut of the situation, all doctors need to be educated at least on CP as a disability and how it affects people. One other thing we kind of wanted to jump into here is that on October 6th, like we mentioned, is a day full of awareness around World CP Day, and we also want to let you know that not only is there 7 million people, I'm going to say that again, 7 million people worldwide living with some type of CP, and so that's a reason for our voices to be heard as advocates. But there are, get ready for this number, you guys, because it's crazy.
Oh yeah.
There are 350 million people who are
Connected.
at least connected to someone with cerebral palsy. 350 million people who are at least connected or know somebody or has a family member that has CP around the world. So this for us is a huge motivation to just get knowledge out there about CP and tell the people thank you who live with or live and support us as people living with CP. So it's very, go ahead.
Whether that's your family circle or your friends or whomever helps you in the community, make them aware that you appreciate them, but there also needs to be more information so more people are aware of cerebral palsy.
That's right. And I'm going to say those numbers again just because I feel like they are so important. There are 17 million people across the world living with cerebral palsy, and another 350 million people are closely connected to a child or adult that has CP. And here's another fact. It is the most common disability out there. It is a permanent disability that affects movement. And that right there honestly, as an advocate and someone who lives with CP on a daily basis, makes me really frustrated. It makes me really angry. Just because it is the most common disability talked about or seen, and there's not enough information, you guys. There's not enough resources, and like AJ said, there should be more doctors that are versed in CP, but there's not, you guys, and it's 2021. I mean, and really and truly, I think, we talk about spinal cord injuries and we talk about different disabilities, but really the main one, and the main one that we deal with, and the main one that we try to highlight mostly every day, is that of CP, because it's ours. However, to find out that it's the most common one, really, really makes us angry. And I don't know your thoughts on this, AJ, and I will give you a second to talk about those. But it makes me really, really angry when you think about it. It's the most common disability, but there's not any information about. Hardly ever do I hear any information. Sorry, guys, I can't talk today. Any information about that specific disability. You go out in public and you hear people who think you have a spinal cord injury, or ask what happened to you, and you tell them you have cerebral palsy, and they don't know what you're talking about. And really and truly, that's just sad to me. It's really, really sad.
I was blown away by the numbers and the statistics.
Yeah.
I didn't know the 350 million people were connected to the other 17 million people
Right.
that have CP.
What do you think about, what are your thoughts about the fact that CP is the most common disability in a child or adult? What do you think about that in 2020, like in this year's, in this day and age specifically? When you hear about a disability or a child being born with a disability, and let's make that clear, being born with a disability, it's most of the time it's cerebral palsy. What do you think about those?
I think the common misconception of the world is that the most known is the people with spinal cord injuries, because that's more of what we see
Right.
on an everyday basis.
They
So
look
there needs to be more representation for people with cerebral palsy on an everyday basis.
well. Well, and not just, not just that, but in general, there needs to be more representation. You're right, across the board for people with disabilities. But more specifically, you're correct when you say that there does need to be more representation for people with CP. And you guys, we're not bashing our fellow spinal cord, people with spinal cord injuries, because we know a lot of people have had successes and are wonderful out there, doing great things, who live with spinal cord injuries. However, this is a day to commemorate World CP Day, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about what we live with on a daily basis, and we're just giving you the facts. The facts are the most common CP, the most common disability in a child or adult is CP, and there's not enough information about there. There's just not enough education for parents and children alike. When you turn, I recently have realized this fact. Most of us start to come of age and really learn about our disabilities if we have one from birth, about age 8 or 9, I think that's when we start to really kind of
Yes.
to our own and understand it. So from that point on, or even younger, if you want to really grow your kids into the best advocates they can be, you need to start talking about it. It needs to be a conversation at home.
Yes.
You know, and if you have a child with CP, or you're a parent who is just starting this journey, please, we hope whatever you get out of today's show, you understand and you can take from um, our resources, that it is so important to start them young in understanding the kind of process and journey that they're going to have to go down in the future.
I would talk to your kids about the questions that they may be asked
Right,
in public so they're not thrown off when people do ask questions,
right.
because we all know that the public can ask some off the wall questions at times. So pre- prepare your kids as they grow for the proper answers.
Well, that's what I was talking about, and I don't think that there are quote unquote proper answers. I think each child is going to learn about themselves differently, and so they're going to whenever they are given a question, or they ask their parents a question, they're going to relate it back to something that they know. So not every question is going to be typical, like AJ
No.
said. But if you, again, I speak to parents because I'm one myself. Um, if you are a parent and you do have a child who was born with CP, it's up to you to make their life, their early life, as normal, quote unquote, as possible. But it's also up to you to be honest and be truthful about what they're going to face in the future. So have discussions at dinner time about your leg braces, or if your kids ask about their AFOs and things. Have those open discussions. Nowadays we have books that might help discuss cerebral palsy, like the Mighty Miss Maya, and
Yes,
um,
I was just gonna bring that up.
there are educational tools out there to help a kid who is coping with having CP, and growing up and having to deal with, maybe they deal with bullying in school, or maybe they're learning how to be a part of a group. So don't be afraid. The main thing I can say is don't be afraid to have those hard conversations. Your child is going to grow up and learn how to be the greatest advocate that he or she can be, and
Yes,
but you need to be the first line of defense when your child is learning about it.
I know there's way more information than when I was growing up as far as books and information go.
Right. There's a lot of, even though we're 31 years past the ADA being signed into law, and there's still so much we need to do. But you're right, AJ. There's still so many more educational resources available now than there was when we were growing up. For me, like 40 years ago, we barely saw anything.
Yeah,
You know, my parents were kind of just, hey, your kid has CP, and okay, see you later. So they kind of had to just fly by the seat.
exactly.
They had to fly by the seat of their pants. And I know your mom and your family has done a lot of that too. And so most of all today, we just wanted to talk about, don't be afraid to have the tough discussions. Don't be afraid to use the resources given. And after the end of today's show, we will have some resources linked in our description box below and on the DBTD website for you to go to if you need more information about CP or want to find out more about World CP Day.
And also, don't be afraid to ask someone that has CP that is older than your child as well
Yeah,
to be prepared for what could come down the road.
yeah,
Because I speak for myself, but I we would be more than happy to help
absolutely.
anybody.
Absolutely. If there's someone if there's someone out there that wants more information and would like to speak to one of us about how our road through CP has gone over the years, or anything that we can help you get education on, please reach out to us via our Facebook page or our dbtdmedia.com page. We are always here for you, and we will answer your questions or give you resources that if we don't have the answers, we will lead you towards resources where you can find the answers you need. So World CP Day is a very special day to celebrate, just standing in your own power, I believe. And it also celebrates advocates like AJ and I, who have kind of made it. We've made it here. Our life's not over. Is it a struggle? Absolutely. And I mean, I think I can shadow AJ. I mean, AJ can shadow my senses.
Yes.
We both have lived with it the majority of our life. I was diagnosed at 2 years old. And the beginning was hard. The beginning was hard. And the middle was hard. And, as you grow up and you become an adult, it gets even harder. There are things that you're not, as a child, you are kind of shielded or protected from what can happen out there. In schools, in your early years of school, you have IEPs and you're dealing with, advocates that help you kind of navigate that. But as you get older, we were talking a little bit before the show, those resources kind of go away and you're kind of left kind of out to dry. So
Yeah.
go
Kind
ahead.
of left to fend for yourself and find resources for yourself.
Yeah, and so I think it's really important to come together as a society and just, advocate for more resources, not just for CP, but every single disability out there. And for more, again, we talk about it every day, but for more representation. Um, Celebrate yourself, celebrate the little wins, because we know the CP isn't easy. Be proud of who you are. If you're an advocate, keep doing it, keep pushing. If you're a parent that has a child with CP and you're going through the really hard stuff, keep going, because take it from us, it will get better.
It's worth it.
It's worth it every single day. It will get better. Your child will be okay.
Take it day by day, minute by minute if you have to.
Yeah, it's not a death sentence. Um, I I am a wonderfully happy married woman with two amazing, beautiful kids and a very well-versed career in advocacy. And obviously I'm a podcast host. So CP is not a death sentence, and it's not the end of the world. I have graduated college, and I know AJ has, He's a photographer and podcast host, and he has been in school. And so we're just trying to convey to you all today, especially, we convey it every week on the show, but today especially, that CP isn't end all to be all. CP can CP can CP can mean great things for your child ahead. And if you're an adolescent with CP and you're going through the rough stuff, and girl or boy, whoever you are, we understand it. It can be terrible. It can be yucky, but just keep moving through it. Keep pushing. If you're in a chair, keep pushing through it. Put yourself out there. Um, find yourself a group of friends who understand it. Keep wanting to be involved. Go ahead, AJ.
Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. People don't know when they don't see. So put yourself out there and be open to answering the questions that may come.
Yeah, because go ahead.
You may open somebody's mind and say, I've never thought of it that way.
That's right. And more importantly, people can, if you have CP, you know what going to doctors is like, and you know what everybody says, but you are the only person who knows your body and your life the best. So when people ask questions who don't know, you're the best person to educate them.
Be your own advocate.
That's right. Be your own advocate. And don't be afraid to answer. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to answer questions. And don't be afraid to take some criticism. But you know what? In the end, you are an amazing person. And I'm speaking to teenagers out there, young kids who have CP. Um, don't be, again, I just keep saying it, but it's so true. Don't be afraid to be your own advocate. Speak your mind. Stand up and speak your own voice. You're going to have a support circle of family and friends, but sometimes it's most important that you learn how to speak your own mind and give a voice to your specific CP and what you deal with.
Because sometimes your family or your circle of friends will put you in a box because they're afraid of what could happen, and you have to be willing to step out of the box that they put you in.
Yeah, and stand strong, and be willing to try things, willing to push yourself, willing to, willing to break out of the box or break out of the mold, and just, if you want to do something and you don't see a way that it can be done physically, then find a way. You find a way.
The only way you grow is by pushing yourself to do new things.
I think, go ahead.
So I would try new things each and every day, and you'd be surprised of what comes out of it.
Right. And I think recently, AJ, we were in a conference, and we heard one of the speakers, and I think one of the most powerful things that we heard from Gregory, and we will have Gregory Irons on the show in the future to kind of talk about his story. But I think one of the things that I took away that was kind of life changing, not really life changing, but kind of an eye opening moment or aha moment, if you want to call it, was he kept saying, as in reference to his speech, he kept saying, find a way, find a way, find a way. And he is a wrestler with CP, and he had a lot of people tell him, even in his family, that that wasn't possible. But he was determined to find a way, and I think find a way really kind of represents what CP is, what World CP Day is all about, and what CP in general is all about. Because if you're an advocate and you have CP and you live with it like AJ and I do, and you want to do things, and you may not see it done in a normal way that you can do it, then you find a way and you adapt and you just keep pushing through. You just keep pushing through it all.
And if one way doesn't work, there's always another. And if that way doesn't work, try till it does work.
Right. Try it any way you can find. But the bottom line is find a way. And sure, is CP gonna suck? Yeah. Is CP gonna be different every day? Absolutely. There's never a cookie cutter day, and it's never gonna be the same. But if you push through the cramps and the pain and the spasms and all of that, at the end of the day, if you believe in yourself, let's say this, if you believe in yourself, and even through all that, you will find a way. You will find a way to have a successful life and live with CP.
Yes, you will.
And
it will suck a lot, but there will be some very, very cool days. And you will say, okay, this is why I put up with all the bad days.
I can do it. I can. It is possible. And those are words that you need to continue to say to yourself is I can, and it is possible, and it will happen. I can't is not something that's often in my vocabulary anymore, because I can't not live my life. That's the only way that I say I can.
It's all about surrounding yourself with positive people. It's positive networks
Yes.
that will boost you up, but not give you a big head, or they'll shoot to you straight.
Yes. And I think most importantly, just keep pushing through.
Yes.
If you see somebody that you admire that has CP, and you want to be like them, remember that they have gone through the same struggles you have. And most importantly, be your own cheerleader. I know we've talked about it over the past 20 to 30 minutes of the show, but most importantly, be your own cheerleader. Be proud of what you can do as a person. Be proud of how far you've come. And on those bad days, go ahead.
At the end of the day, no one's gonna love you as much as you love yourself.
Right.
So you have to love yourself.
Right.
That way the rest of the world can see you're passionate about something, and it'll radiate to your inner circle and beyond.
It'll radiate to everybody. If you go out with a positive attitude every day and a smile on your face, and the ability that you will and can do anything that's put in front of you, it will not only radiate to your friends, but it will radiate to a world that doesn't know a lot about CP.
Yes.
And they'll want to ask you those questions. And you'll see your child kind of flourish and grow if you stand behind them and support their goals, whatever they may be.
Even if you think they're impossible, help them to find a way to accomplish whatever they want to do.
Right. And teach them that it's all going to be okay, and they're people first. More importantly than anything, they are people first. They are not their disability.
Yeah.
Their disability is part of them. Yes, it is, but they
But
are.
it's not who they are at their core.
Right. It's not who they are at their core. And just keep pushing that message and be a positive light to them. If you support them, whoever supports them, grandparents, parents, be a positive light so that they can see what's possible in the future. You know, we're 31 years into the ADA being signed, and like I said earlier, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, and there are generations of kids that are growing up in this new world that need to know now more than ever that what they want to do is possible, even if they have a disability, that anything is possible, even if you have a disability. So as we said earlier and before, teach your kids that they are more than their disability, that they have their own talents and uniqueness about them. Make sure they wake up with that glow in their heart, and just make sure that they know who specifically they are as people, and that they recognize their own talents, and that they are special in every way.
That there is only one of them, that they are unique.
That's right. And I know we've talked a lot about kids and a lot about parents, but let's jump back into something that you touched on a little earlier, and that was representation within the community. Now, it is 2021, and we have dealt with a lot over the past almost two years, but we will never ever change these statistics or get a different view on CP unless there is more representation within the world, within society.
Yes. And that is why I started this podcast, because I didn't see my own representation in the media. I wanted to get people's stories out there for this specific reason, because without representation, no one knows what's possible if they don't see it.
That's right. And I kind of shadow what AJ said. I'm going to take down this this little graphic for a second, and I'm going to get real. I kind of shadow what AJ said here recently, because I live with CP too. I'm a 40-year-old mother of two girls that don't have CP, and they have a mom that lives with CP, and there's not a lot of representation for them as to what, someone who looks like mom or has a job like mom, or just functions like mom. And I want them, even in the times that they're growing up, I want them to see more people like their mom, so they don't, as a result of my disability, I have taught them to be great advocates for people with disabilities, and they have a sensitivity to that. However, there isn't a lot of, representation for individuals who live with CP. And like I said, we're not bashing anyone who has spinal cord injury. We are just specifically talking about our societal group who lives with CP. There isn't a lot of representation, and let's get it out there. Let's talk more about it. Let's not be afraid to be different and stand up for what we believe in, and stand up for who we are, really. I mean, that's the bottom line, right?
Because at the end of the day, we were created this way, so we must embrace what we were created to be.
That's right. And I think with that, we are going to wrap the show up. But before we wrap the show up, we're going to give you a couple of resources using the screen a little bit here. And also you can remember, oops, 1 second. You can remember, if you want further information about World CP Day or just CP in general, you can always find it at our website, dbtdmedia.com. And we're going to have links below in the YouTube description section if you want to go find out more information about World CP Day. But again, to wrap it up, we are celebrating World CP Day today. Today is October 6th. Always remember that specifically on today, October 6th, we celebrate World CP Day, and today's theme, or this year's theme, is Millions of Reasons, and there are millions of reasons to celebrate people living with CP.
So let me ask this question: what is your reason?
What is my reason?
No, what is the audience's reason? Who in your circle of acquaintances is your reason? Because I know there has to be someone that you're aware of, or possibly not aware of. But if you're not aware of them, please open up and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yes.
Find out more information about cerebral palsy and be a resource.
Yeah, and that's why we're giving some resources out. If you don't have any resources, DBTD Media is a place you can go to find resources and find out more about CP and find out more specifically about World CP Day. But I want to read this again before we wrap up, and I think this is really important. It kind of stuck out to me, and I really hope everyone can take something from today's show. But this is a message that kind of touches me, and I hope it touches all of you. It says cerebral palsy affects more than 17 million people worldwide. So there are 17 million reasons to make your voice heard on October 6th. And so we're asking you to join with us, the DBTD team, AJ and I, we're asking you to join with us as we celebrate World CP Day and create awareness and action around cerebral palsy. Because every person living with CP is a reason to strive for change.
Yes.
I love that. So if you want to follow us along, or you want to help us celebrate CP Day, you wanna join in the advocation that we're gonna do. You can use hashtags Millions of Reasons or World CP Day, or both of them, to help us celebrate on October 6th, which is today, the day the video goes live. You can help us celebrate the millions of reasons all around the world.
Yeah.
And I think with that, there's nothing else to say. You guys remember to help celebrate World CP Day. If you know someone with CP, give them a hug. Let them know they're warriors, because we all are.
Yes.
Wear green, celebrate CP. Use the hashtags Millions of Reasons or World CP Day. And remember, there are 17 million of us, and each of us are a reason to strive for change. So help us get out there and create awareness and take action. Take action. Do whatever you can to help advocate for CP. Even if you're in a wheelchair, there are ways you can help out too. So I'm going to repeat that again. Take action around CP, create awareness where you're green, use the hashtags, celebrate with us on October 6th, which is today, the day the video goes live. And if you know somebody with the CP, give them a hug, celebrate them, because they are one of the millions of reasons that we're celebrating World CP Day today.
And with that, y'all, we say, don't burn the day.
And thanks again to our sponsors of today's video, Friendly Shoes, pattyandricky.com. And once again, we'd like to thank everybody at the 6th annual CP conference that we attended this past weekend. Everybody was fantastic. The conference was fabulous. There were wonderful, motivating speakers, and we just thank everybody for our chance to be involved in our partnership, and we look forward to a partnership throughout the year, and also to help in the upcoming 7th annual CP conference. So thanks everybody for being a part of it, and go out there and celebrate World CP Day, everybody.
Have a great day, y'all.
Have a great day, and we'll see you next week. And remember, what do they do, AJ?
Don't burn the day.
That's right, everybody. We'll see you next week.